Our guests tonight are two hugely talented Irish actors who have recently teamed up for the first time in an award-winning film called 5 Minutes of Heaven. And both performances, having seen them, are absolutely marvellous, to be honest with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on with it. And please welcome James Nesbit and Liam Neeson.
Good house tonight.
I was going to say, such a low-key and restrained response from the gentlemen in the audience. Now, gentlemen, welcome to you both. It's good to see you.
Good to be here.
Is this, James, is this the first time you've worked with Liam Neeson?
Yeah, I hope not the last. Yeah, I mean, I sort of have an odd link from my past to Liam. Liam grew up in the same street as my granny.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mrs. Nesbit.
Yeah.
Mrs. Nesbit.
The first thing Liam said to me was your granny, Granny Nesbit. And, and he remembered her well, and it was a very interesting measure of the man that he, of course, remembered my granny. And
yeah, she used to, forgive me for saying this, we had a little green outside our street, and we'd play ball, you know, soccer and stuff like that. And Mrs. Nesbit had this pristine garden. And when we were out playing ball, she'd be standing like this. And more often than not, the ball would go in, and she would keep it. But we had such respect for her. Why don't you say the next time you get that'll be in Ballydown?
No, exactly. No, she was great. My mother. So we sort of knew each other vicariously, I suppose, in a way. And but no, the opportunity arose to work together, and I certainly hope it's not the last.
No, the chemistry. There's not too much of you on screen together, but when it's there, it's extraordinary. I mean, how did you get on filming, Liam, with James? Was it good? Was it Ernie and Bert, or was it much more a serious affair than off camera?
I was a straight man. Let's put
Were
it
you?
that way. No, it was an absolute delight.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of his for many years.
Well, you know, likewise. And also, I mean, I'm sure you'll talk a bit about the film, but it was a joyous experience. You know, we were filming in places in the north of Ireland that we know well, you know, in Glenarm and around in Carnoch and all around there. And so, that's, you know, that's contextually quite a serious film, but actually a joyous experience.
Well, let's talk about the film itself first, because it's directed by this guy, Oliver Hirschspiegel, if that's his name. He directed, many of you will have seen Downfall, extraordinary film about the last days of Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
And
an extraordinary film if you haven't seen it.
Yeah,
really
and an interesting choice of director for this film. Maybe, James, you give us a kind of narrative of the story of the films.
2 years ago, I was approached by Patrick Spence, who's the head of drama at BBC Northern Ireland, looking to make a drama about the legacy of violence in Northern Ireland, the impact that it had. A story came up about two real men, one who Liam plays, Alistair Little, a 17-year-old who joined the UVF tartan gangs, shot a random Catholic called Jim Griffin in their shared hometown of Lurgan, witnessed by the victim's brother, 11-year-old Joe, who I play. And Guy Hibbert, who is known for writing Oma, so he has a proven track record in the sensitivities of writing about the north of Ireland. Met these men over 3 years, collaborated with them. They made the courageous decision of telling their story, maybe as part of the beginning of a process for them about finding some resolution. I read the script, loved it. It started off as a wee thing. Liam I'd met, and we'd talked about the notion of working together. Guy Hibbert happened to send in the script. Yeah. Liam jumped on board. The minute Liam jumps on board, the film gets made a wee bit easier now, I have to say. And then Oliver, who Guy was working with, saw the script, and all of a sudden this team came together.
Very fast, too, very quickly.
Very, very quick. Well, Liam only had about 4 weeks to the window, and it wasn't only the team of the four of us that came together, it was then also the extraordinary crew that you have in Northern Ireland.
And the story itself, we were chatting upstairs before the show started, and you were, I think it was you saying, James, as we were talking, that this is not just a political film, this is a thriller in some ways, because it's the two grown men many years later on a journey to collide. And whether or not they meet, that's the element we don't need to tell everyone, but that is the drama that was running, as well as a subplot to the broader drama of the political situation at the time. So it's quite a dramatic and dynamic film in that sense.
I'm glad you brought that up, Brian. It is a thriller, and it's also got elements of a cowboy western.
Yes. You know? Why do you say that?
Without spoiling too much for the audience. There's a kind of a standoff, and you're aware of a clock ticking.
Yes.
And they're also
a la High Noon type.
Sure. And they're also two proud men. with their own integrity, but their own issues.
Hang-ups,
hang-ups,
you could say.
course, yeah.
We've got a clip of both of you in action separately.
Right.
We'll start with Liam playing Alistair Little.
All
in
right, I'm
5
away.
minutes of Heaven. Yes. Have a look at this.
He was only a wee boy at the time, you know.
And is it just the brother you're meeting?
Aye. Aye. It's... His father died 8 months later, a heart attack. A broken heart, the family said. His brother Daniel, it was an overdose with him. After that, his mother, she died. It's what happens. It's often what happens. To the family, you know. It's the part people don't understand, don't realize. What happens after.
Now, I suppose the filmmakers are at pains to tell us this is not a true story. It's based on a true story, if you like. And you met Joe Griffin on who loosely based the role that you play is on. You chose to meet him, did you, before filming or during? Or?
I mean, you know, the film is a fiction inspired by the true events of one single act of violence.
Yeah.
And it's about these two men. Now, there were a lot of single acts of violence in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
It's about these two men. I chose to meet Joe because he was such an extreme character on the page. And also, I didn't know what had happened between the age of 11 and when we joined him as me. And I met him, and it was very useful for me. It was a fantastic source. He's a brilliant... You know, his life has certainly been changed, of course, as a result of those events, but it doesn't mean he's not a funny man, an articulate man, you know,
very
and
funny guy.
he's a fantastic, brave. And I think Liam and I would both say that we salute particularly the courage of the two of them for allowing the story to be told.
Well, let's look at you playing that part in the film, because I think this is, if I may, as an aside, say this is among some of the best things you've ever done,
Right,
because you just take that range and you go all the way there and all the way there, and we get a kind of glimpse of that in this scene. Have a look at this.
She's been staring at me for 33 years, do you know that? What it's like? Your mother blaming you for 33 years. 3 bullets went into his head, you'd know that though. Did you know another one had a picture of a cat on the wall? It wasn't me who broke that picture, I never got the blame for that one. And if it wasn't me who broke the picture on the wall, then it wasn't me who killed my brother. I didn't kill him like she said I did. It was you. It was you in the car arriving at her house and shooting 3 bullets into her son's head, making her grieve the way she did, blaming me the way she did. Well, I'm the one in the car now visiting you. I'm the one in the car now. I'm the one in the car now.
Fine stuff. Great film. As far as I could figure out, the last time you filmed in Belfast was 1979. Is that correct? Or were you there between now and then? And either way, what was it like going back to that part of the world to film? Because you're...
I actually played Jesus Christ in 1979.
Did you get notions?
I did. I thought I could walk on water.
Local swimming pool, was it?
I was actually crucified on top of Cave Hill.
Were you?
I remember looking down and seeing soldiers and armoured cars and thinking, this is one for the diary. You know? Anyway, it was a version of Pilgrim's Progress.
Okay.
I played Jesus Christ in Belfast with the Ulster Youth Theatre. Imagine playing Jesus at the age of 18 in the Ulster Youth Theatre. It was class.
So what was it like going back then for you after all this time?
It was pretty extraordinary and quite emotional. I was just struck with the physicality of the city. It's all come back to life.
Yeah.
It's like Shanghai. There's cranes everywhere, working 24/7. There was restaurants. When I was there in the 70s, there was no restaurants. And B, there were seats and tables outside of the restaurants. It was very European and young and full of life and energy.
And also